This topic is designed to give you a clearer understanding of the importance of fundamental movement skills for youth development. By the end of this module, you'll be able to recognize and describe the importance of fundamental movement skills for youth development, describe the 4 subcategories of fundamental movement skills and the associated movement skills to each category, use appropriate coaching techniques to give the child a solid foundation in the fundamental movement skills. This fundamental movement skills topic is designed for parents and children who want to support the development of fundamental movement skills in children aged 5 to 12 years in a fun and purposeful way. Fundamental movement skills provide a foundation for many physical activities, including play, games, dance, outdoor recreation, and sports. Having these skills is an essential part of enjoyable participation and a lifelong interest in an active lifestyle. The intent of this topic is to enable children to learn and develop fundamental skills through play and games. It has been designed to encourage maximum participation and enjoyment and to assist the children to progress at their own rate. Developing fundamental movement skills can be used to enable movement in formal and informal activity sessions, such as play, games, dance and sport, in schools, sports clubs, community groups, and at home. You are encouraged to implement a child-centered approach by providing movement experiences in which children can explore and discover for themselves. These experiences increase their understanding of movement and help to develop their competence and confidence in a broad spectrum of fundamental movement skills. Children who possess inadequate motor skills are often relegated to a life of exclusion from the organized and free play experience of their peers, and subsequently to a lifetime of inactivity because of their frustrations in early movement behavior. Research has shown that negative self-perceptions of motor skill ability are often cited by children as a major barrier to participation in physical activity and sport, as they feel they cannot perform the basic skills necessary to achieve a degree of success. This can lead to the rejection of future participation opportunities, lower self-esteem, reduced fitness, and a decrease in social competence. Alternatively, children competent in fundamental movement skills are more likely to enjoy and have a positive attitude towards sport and physical activity. Aside from the obvious health benefits, for example, low risk of obesity and cardiovascular disease, research has shown that the increased self-confidence children feel through successfully performing fundamental movement skills can have a beneficial knock-on effect to other areas of their education, for example, proficiency in reading and writing. Those with positive expectations about their ability are more willing to take risks, are popular playmates in the school ground, and are more likely to maintain an active and healthy lifestyle. Stability movement skills form the basis for all other locomotor and manipulative skills, because all movement requires an element of stability. To appreciate the importance of stability, we can quickly reflect on the early reflexive period, or infancy, where a child has a very stable core or tummy area as they create many and varied grasping, pulling and reaching movements with their arms and hands and legs and feet. All of these reflexive patterns and movements can be considered core training. So even since birth, the baby and child were actually training and getting ready for the day they'll be challenged by more demanding physical tasks. Stability movement skills are those which focus on acquiring and maintaining static and dynamic balance. Static balance is seen, for example, when the child tries to maintain a position of balance without moving, as in a single leg balance test. Dynamic balance is seen as the movement. For example, a child may sidestep to evade an oncoming child. Many sports place a premium on gaining or maintaining one's balance, and dynamic balance is often more important than static balance in sports skills. However, both static and dynamic balance need to be trained to produce a well-rounded player. Movements such as reaching, twisting, turning, bending, and stretching are fundamental stability abilities, as are lifting, carrying, pushing, and pulling. Some drills and exercises that could be used to develop stability movement skills are highlighted in the following videos. Single leg static balance. Have the child stand on one leg. Maintain a steady balanced posture for 10 seconds. Repeat on each side. To progress, have the child reach, grab, or touch various parts while balancing. Single leg static balance with catching and throwing. Have the child stand on one leg. Maintain a steady balanced posture for 10 seconds. Challenge the child by throwing a rugby ball to them and getting them to catch and pass it back. Repeat on each side. Immovable rock. Get the child to support their weight on their hands and feet. They then have to maintain this position whilst another child tries to push or pull them over. Stability movement skills. Locomotor movement skills are those which the body is moved in one direction or a combination of directions from one point to another. Activities such as walking, jogging, moving forwards, backwards, side shuffling, skipping, running, jumping, hopping and leaping are considered fundamental locomotion movements. Locomotor movement skills are probably the most basic and important category of fundamental movement skills to enable a child to play sport. The player has to be able to get around the pitch, and they use a variety of different locomotor movement patterns mentioned above to achieve this. The square drill. The player accelerates forward, side shuffles, back pedals, and side shuffles again. This covers a lot of the locomotor skills in a simple drill. Follow the leader. One child is the leader, one is the follower. The follower has to mirror the actions of the leader as they jog, run, sidestep. Sprints with back pedal. The child sprints forward, then returns to the baseline. The child backpedals, and then backpedals back to the baseline. Locomotor movements. Manipulative and coordination movement skills include movements that involve giving force to objects or receiving force from objects. Throwing, catching, kicking, trapping, and striking are considered fundamental gross motor, manipulative, and coordination skills. While locomotor and stability skills are crucial fundamental skills in getting the player around the pitch and giving them the basic ability to play sports, manipulative and coordination skills are extremely important in the actual sport-specific skills that the player will need. Self-throwing and catching. The child has a ball in their hands. They throw it up and catch the ball. The child can throw it as far as they like in any direction to challenge themselves. Passing drill. Players are in pairs. They pass back and forth to each other over a set distance. Collecting a high ball. The coach kicks the ball up into the air. The child catches the ball. To progress, the player jumps and catches the ball, landing softly and safely. Or two children could compete for the ball. Manipulate awareness, which is often neglected within the fundamental skills categorization, includes the child's understanding of space and depth of space within the confine of the sport or activity area. The ability to be aware of one's surroundings and available space is a very valuable skill in the sporting realm. The best players understand where the space is on the pitch for passing, kicking and running, and if they exploit that space, they and their team will get an advantage. By getting children to be aware of the space available during a particular activity, coaches are laying the groundwork for much more sport-specific skills and performance. Evasion square. Have a square marked out with cones and line children up on each of the four sides of the square. When the coach shouts go, the players have to run to the opposite side of the square. They will have to evade other players and make sure they're looking up for a path through the drill. Bulldog. The coach has a square marked out and two players stand in the square and are it. The other players have to run through the square without getting tagged. The players will have to be aware of space and the movement of other players and the defenders to pass through untagged. Awareness, which is leapfrog. The child crouches down. The child behind them then runs up, places their hand on their back, and jumps over. This child then crouches down, and this continues on. Speed awareness. In this drill, the child will be given a colour bib to pick up. They must sprint to the line of bibs, pick up the colour bib, and return back. This develops both the awareness and sprint speed. High kick and catch. In this drill, one child kicks the ball in the air, up high, the other child catches. Catching the ball from a height can be quite challenging for children. This will develop their catching technique. The low kick. This drill is useful for teaching children how to kick properly. By placing one foot beside the ball after the run-up and keeping the body weight over the ball, this will help them keep the ball down and master the low kick technique. Acceleration deceleration. For this drill, two children sprint from opposite sides of a grid to the same cone. The first child to reach the cone picks it up and tries to sprint back to their start position. The other child has to try and catch them. If they get back to their start position without being caught, they get a point. If they get caught, the other child gets a point. This is a great drill for developing speed and reactions. Change of direction. In this drill, some children start in the center of a grid. The other children are around them. The children around them are trying to catch them as they try and sprint out from the center of the grid to the outside of the grid. If they get caught, the other team get a point. If they make it to the outside without being caught, they get a point. This drill is great for developing change of direction, evasion, and reactions. Underhand throw. This is basically a version of dodgeball. The children run to the center, try and pick up the balls, and then try and hit the opposing team using an underhand throw. This will help develop this motor skill. Overhand throw. This is again a version of dodgeball where the children have to run to the center, pick up the ball, and then try and hit the opposing team using an overhand throwing technique. This will help develop reactions and the motor skill of overhand throwing. This module has highlighted the importance of fundamental movement skills. You should now recognize the importance that fundamental movement skill development has for youths. You're also now familiar with the 4 categories of fundamental movement skills, and you will have viewed some activity examples in each of the categories. Finally, you will be able to coach some movement drills and activities to help build and develop the fundamental movement skills.